Someone recently wrote into the comments section and asked, "Are you up to giving advice to someone who wants to take up motorcycling?" Hell yeah, I am. So our friend says he's 40 and finally willing to upset his parents by getting a motorcycle, even though he's unsure whether he can ride a bicycle. He says any bits of encouragement, advice, or a simple "don't do it" would be great. Saying "don't do it" isn't my strong point, so let's dig in. First, if I had a dime for everything I've done that upset my parents, I'd have a lot of dimes. Thousands of shiny dimes. I'd have enough change to buy a Harley. I wouldn't, but I could. Riding a motorcycle isn't always a popular choice among your friends and family, but they're not the ones riding the damn thing. You are. Sure, they may have valid concerns, one being that you're unsure if you can even ride a bicycle. But in the end, it's your choice, not theirs, and it's not fair for others to shit on your dreams. If you're really thinking about getting into motorcycles, the best possible thing you can do right now is to take a beginner rider safety course. These classes will teach you the basics of riding, everything from how to use the clutch and throttle, to counter steering and emergency braking, all on a Honda Rebel, probably. Once you finish, you'll know whether you want to take the next step. With all that said, let's talk about the stuff they won't teach you in a basic rider course. Basic rider safety courses are fantastic, but they only teach you so much. Most of what you'll learn by doing. Only through countless hours in the saddle will you develop the skills and confidence to be a proficient rider, if you make it that long. See, one thing you don't learn in a basic rider class is that 95% of folks who drive cars nowadays are texting on their iPhones while eating a burrito and putting on makeup. It's a fact. I see it every time I ride. Distracted drivers are probably worse than drunk drivers. At least drunk drivers know they're assholes. Distracted drivers think the world exists for them, and damn it, they gotta send out that poop emoji to their bestie post-haste. If that causes an accident and costs you your life, it's probably your fault for being on a motorcycle in the first place, according to them. Seriously, drivers these days are the worst. You gotta be prepared for anything. One of my biggest concerns as a motorcyclist is getting rear-ended at a stoplight. Every car accident I've been in my 35 plus years of driving a car have been rear-enders. Every one of them. The last two I know for sure were texters. In a car, it's usually no big deal. On a motorcycle, it can really ruin your month. Another thing they don't teach you in basic rider classes is this. Your first motorcycle should not be a Kawasaki cruise missile or whatever the kids are buying these days. You gotta find something that won't launch you across the planet the first time you whiskey throttle your new bike. Because you will whiskey throttle your new bike. Even though that shiny lime green Speed Machine 1200 with its handlebars lower than your knees is sexy as all hell, it won't do a thing to help you learn to ride properly. You need a proper bike. And by proper bike, I don't mean boring bike. The last thing you want is something that is so unfun that you won't feel inspired to ride it. You want something with character, something you love looking at, something that sounds crazy good, and at the same time, something you won't mind scratching and denting. Good luck finding that bike, but it's out there somewhere. If you're looking for a new bike, something like the Triumph Speed 400 or the Triumph Scrambler 400X would be perfect. I did a video on both of those bikes earlier this year. I'll put a link up on the screen if you're interested. For some of us who have been around the block a time or two, riding a motorcycle is more than just a hobby or a means of getting from point A to point B. It's a passion, a therapy, a release. It's a lifestyle and an escape. It's something we take seriously because our lives are on the line, but it's also some of the most fun we get to have while clothed. Speaking of clothes, get the proper riding gear. That's another video though. My advice for anyone thinking of getting into riding motorcycles always starts with, oh hell yes, just do it now, and then leads a bit more into the reality of it all. And the reality is that motorcycling is an expensive, dangerous, addictive, sometimes isolating activity that is so completely worth it all. There are few things in the world I would identify myself as being: husband, web developer, handsome as all hell, and motorcyclist. I call myself a motorcyclist because it is that big a part of my life. I ride almost every day of the year, in the rain, in the heat, in the cold, Whatever. I need at least a few minutes on the bike every day to feel balanced and happy. So that's one reason why you should ride. It's a thing that'll make you happy, something you'll become, not just do. And if it doesn't work out that way for you, well, at least you found out instead of going your whole life wondering, what if? Another reason you should ride, and this is especially important for us older riders, is that it gets you out of the house, into the world, and into a community of others like you. I've met countless fantastic people, along with a few knobs, in my time as a motorcyclist. Some of them have turned out to be lifelong friends. I can't say enough about how riding has gotten me out of my shell and feeling alive again. So riding is fantastic and everyone should do it. Or well, just about everyone. If you're a terrible, awful, no good driver, it's quite possible those traits will carry over to motorcycle riding. It's something to think about before you get into all of this. If you're prone to road rage, you should very carefully think about whether you'll be able to control yourself when you feel more vulnerable than you do in a car. I'm a fairly calm person, but I'm originally from the Boston area, so road rage is sort of part of my DNA. It's sometimes hard to control, especially when drivers are so goddamn terrible. But just know that you'll never win a showdown between your motorcycle and Larry's Ford F9000 Super Duty Turbo Diesel America Edition. You gotta either let it go or find another pastime. If you have any medical concerns whatsoever, especially anything involving vision or balance, you really need to chat with your doctor before mounting a 500-pound, two-wheeled roller coaster. Get a good checkup and make sure there's nothing about your health that's going to compromise your safety. And here's something that might be controversial, but I don't care because it's important. If you have a substance abuse issue, I beg you to deal with that first before you become a motorcyclist. Because if you don't, you risk becoming a statistic. In 2022, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration here in the United States said 29% of motorcycle fatalities were because the rider was drunk. I see folks mixing drinking and riding all the time. It's why I don't participate in a lot of club rides. It's not something I feel comfortable being around. If you're a decent car driver, can put your road rage to the side, and you don't have any health issues that would prevent you from riding safely, and you don't intend to mix booze and riding, then I'd say the only thing stopping you from becoming a motorcyclist is training. Get some training, find a good first bike that you'll love riding, and get out on the road. And if you see someone texting, do what I do. Curse up a storm inside your helmet and ride away quickly. Thanks for watching, and I'd love it if you'd like this video and subscribe to the channel. Those little things really do make a difference. Also, I'm curious what you think. Do you think someone needs to know how to ride a bicycle before getting into motorcycling? I've thought about this a lot, and I'm still not sure what the answer is. Leave a comment. I'd love to hear your thoughts.